What's going on, guys? Coach Joe at the Lions Den, and on this video today I want to introduce someone new to the channel whose name is Brad Arbic. And when I first saw Brad, it was at Brian Alzer's gym where he pulled, I think, 800 or 800 plus pounds in a deadlift.
Lift it up. Nah, come on, Brad. Nah, come on. Finish it. Yes, down. Okay.
Which is just absolutely insane. And as you guys know, I've been on the journey of increasing my deadlift as I get ready for bigger strongman competitions. It's just super important to have a big deadlift. So I like picking other people's brains on how they got there and what they did to get strong and big deadlifts. So Brad is an excellent source for that information. Now, Brad's gonna go through different cues that he thinks through when going through the deadlift, and this can help anybody who's a beginner all the way to someone who's more advanced. So get your pen and paper out, take some notes, and implement this into your training. But without further ado, let's get it, Brad.
Hey Joey, thanks for the introduction. I appreciate that. My name is Brad Arbic, and I run my own channel. I call it Despite Fitness, and I'm an active duty Army. I'm actually coming to you from Korea, Camp Humphreys as it is. And Joey invited me on the channel to talk a little bit about deadlift. I've had some experience with deadlift. I'm a competitive powerlifter with USPA, and I am a current 3-time American record holder in the squat, the deadlift, and the total. I've deadlifted 771 successfully in competition, and I've trained with over 815 before. So I've had a little bit of experience with deadlifting, and as such, Joe invited me to come on here and talk a little bit about deadlift. So I'm going to talk about 3 basic mistakes I see a lot of people making while deadlifting. So let's get into it. All right, guys, so the first basic mistake that I see people making while deadlifting is failure to brace, right? And bracing is an important piece of deadlifting because if you'll kind of look at my abdomen here, right, if you touch it, it's full of soft, squishy stuff that tends to fold over under pressure. So if you don't brace properly abdominally, you have a tendency to fold over and you get that thoracic rounding and you start looking like, you know, kitty cat. So it's important to get that good brace in your abdomen. One way to kind of describe that is brace yourself as though you're about to take a punch to the stomach, right? So that feeling that you get when you guard and you brace your stomach right before you get punched, that's pretty much what you want to expect or what you want to think about while you're preparing to do the deadlift. Now, the important part is that you brace yourself before you engage the weight. So if you're soft and squishy and you fold over, you're going to fail to be able to apply power to the bar and actually successfully deadlift. So if you can brace up top, then by all means. Myself, I can't do that, so I brace on the bottom. When I do that, I get my position, I get set, and I grab the bar. Right? When I do this, what I do is I actually roll forward over the bar to get my breath because it's hard for me once I sit back to be able to fill my abdomen appropriately. So I lean over the bar, big breath, and then I sit back, get my position, and then I explode. It looks like this. Big breath. All right, so from the side. My position. Big breath. Bracing. All right, guys, on to the second one. The second most common mistake or kind of basic mistake that I see people making all the time is they don't pre-tension the bar. So you get guys that are kind of overzealous and they want to explode and express power onto the bar, but they don't pre-tension the bar. So you just see them kind of launching into the bar recklessly. Really what that does is a couple different things. One is you're not loading up your spine and kind of priming your body to accept the weight. And then 2, if you're dealing with a whippy bar, if you're dealing with a deadlift bar that has more flex in it, what ends up happening is as you pull up on that bar and the bar bows, the weights kick in as you begin to pull. And then once those plates break the ground, they whip out. And that whipping out causes kind of an elastic effect in the bar and actually pulls the bar back down. So when you just launch into the bar recklessly like that, and that bar rebounds the way it does usually, it can pull you off if you're in a competition kind of an environment, you can get that downward movement and miss the lift. But even best case scenario is it pulls you out of optimal position. And so really with any movement, any of the movements, squat, bench press, or deadlift, any unintended movement is a loss of power. So you want to make sure that every little bit of movement is intended and any unintended movement is mitigated or completely minimized. So what I mean by pre-tension the bar is it looks like this. Get your position. Of course, you get your good breath, tighten up the abdomen and brace. And you begin to kind of pull on the bar. So this is me tensioning the bar, right? Tensioning the bar and then applying pressure. The mistake that I see people do is they run up to the bar and they just jerk into the bar that way. It's a very poor way to apply pressure to the bar, and it's a good way to get hurt. So what I mean by that is, like I said, you take your time, kind of load up pressure on that bar, not to the point where you're going to pick it up off the floor, but you're taking the slack out of the bar. That's a common thing that you'll hear a lot of powerlifters reference, is take the slack out of the bar. What that means is pre-tension that bar, get yourself ready and loaded to accept that weight, and then apply pressure. Okay, and the last mistake and common error that I see a lot of lifters make is kind of turning the deadlift into a two-part movement or strictly hinging at the hip. What ends up happening with a deadlift is, with all the main movements, is you want to try to get all the muscles that help that movement happen working in concert. So the more muscles that you get working together synergistically, the more power you can apply to the bar, right? So it's exactly the opposite of a concentration movement, right? So you imagine a concentration curl, you're trying to eliminate all other movement and just have that bicep curling the weight. You want to do kind of the complete opposite in terms of the compound muscles. You want to have all the muscles working in concert, in unison together, because that's the way that you can apply most force to the bar. So what I mean by that two-part movement is you'll see a lot of people do this, right? So it's either one of two ways. They grab the weight and they just strictly hinge at the hip, right? So only at the hip. Or the second kind of variation of that is they grab the bar and they do this and then they do this, right? So that's what I mean by that two-part movement. You want to have a kind of fluid movement with the bar, and so really instead of this and then this, or strictly this, you want to look a little bit more like this, right? Everything in unison working together. Legs are extending and straightening with the back extending and straightening as well, kind of everything happening all at once, so you get maximum efficacy with all those muscles. So the error from the front, how it should look from the front. Okay? Now from the side. All right, the error from the side. And how it should look from the side. Okay. All right, Coach Joe, I want to thank you so much for letting me be on your channel. I really appreciate the opportunity to kind of spread some knowledge and speak with your audience. I hope that this information was helpful and useful. I think that these are kind of three very common errors that I see in a lot of lifters, and if you were able to kind of shore up just these three things, I feel like a lot of people could really improve their deadlift and see those numbers go up way more than they are right now. So as I watch message boards and things like that, or different powerlifting pages, I see a lot of these same type of mistakes over and over again. So like I said, these are my top three mistakes that I see a lot of lifters making, where I think that you can make some immediate improvement like right now and be able to up your max if you fall into one of those or even all three of those mistakes. Anyway, like I said, thank you very much for the time. I appreciate the opportunity. On my channel, I always end my stuff by saying, no matter what it is you think you can't do, train despite. You either find an excuse or you find a way. I appreciate you guys checking out the video. And Joe, again, thank you so much for the opportunity. I really do appreciate it, brother. Back to you.
All right, big thank you to Brad. Thank you so much for making that video. I really appreciate it. And someone who has an 800-pound deadlift, you guys are gonna make sure that you're paying attention to that information and head over to his channel and subscribe. Brad needs way more subscribers than he has right now, and I really think that he's gonna keep growing, and I wanna help him as much as I can to get visibility. So go over to his channel, check his stuff out, say that Joey sent you over, and I know that he's in the military right now, but when he gets home, hopefully him and I can do an in-person collaboration where we're getting after it, lifting some heavy weight. You guys will really enjoy that. Like I said, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Until next time, stay lean, mean, shine machine. Peace.
Yo, man! Come on, come on. Lift it up. Nah, come on, Brad. Nah, come on. Finish up.